4 minutes until we go live. Between songs now. This is the dramatic pause, where this is the emotional epicenter of the song, Hal, before the dubstep starts again.
Oh, fudge. Oh, there you are. Good morning. Hello. Well, I guess I should switch my scene over.
I love when it says someone should let you into the meeting room soon. I always feel like Buckley's like, not sure.
It's that line item veto. I have that control. I just. And where is McDonough this morning? Did Snowmageddon get him out there?
I doubt it. It's not that bad.
No, it's been.
Is he in the 412 area code?
Don't know.
No.
Riz just say his complete phone number. Go ahead and so we have it on recording and everybody can call him.
No, just the 412 area code. It's a general statement.
It's 412-555 something 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 something.
0123.
Hey, well, welcome everybody to the Microsoft Community Office Hours. This is episode 39, I think. I'm pretty sure 39.
39?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah, welcome. So this is where this panel of experts will attempt to answer all of your questions.
Well, now that McDonough's not here,
I know. Well, we drop our collective IQ drops by at least a handful of points.
Oh, Hal's here, so that covers it.
That's true.
What, a handful of points? That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't think we had any. Well, actually, we did have some homework. Sean had some homework from last week.
Sean's not
So
here.
now I'm starting to understand the delay to his joining us. So,
Are you seeing this, Christian?
what? Oh, hey! Oh well, it's got blurry when you stood up there. But let me switch over to the regular mode, the gallery mode.
And this came along with it.
Yes, I got one of those as well.
Show your T-shirt again. Yeah, for those that missed it. So, yeah, awesome. Oh, of course, it went blurry. There we go. Yeah, that was the Branson event is the North American Collab Summit that happened in, was that August, September? I don't remember anymore. But I went in person, and a number of folks, helped out online and were moderators, and Mike was there, and so I guess Sean sent out the and Hal. Did you get your gift package as well?
Yes, I did.
Congrats!
Yes, I did.
Yeah. No love for you, Eric or Noah. Sorry. But it was great to have that to do that hybrid event, and while it was that event usually gets like 400 or 500 attendees in person, and so I think we had like a third of that at most in person, and but we had another 200-300 people that were online, and we got great feedback, and almost entirely there he is now.
There's Sean.
Because of the moderation.
Decline.
So. Yeah, we're just talking smack about you, Sean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear decline when I'm coming in. Figure it can't be good.
Yeah. Well, let's see. One thing I do want to, before we jump into questions this morning. So, homework was there. Sean, did you have anything you were going to share today? I know there was at least one item that we discussed, but whether you're ready or not.
I'm not ready.
Okay.
No. I got swamped at the end of the week.
No worries.
Sounds quite secretive there, gentlemen. What's going on?
What's that?
Sounds very secretive.
To be swamped?
No, that item, that thing.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Oh.
That's just a statement about his memory.
Correct. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Anything else? Any other announcements? Mike, anything of note come out of the message center, or anything that you are keen on discussing this morning?
No, sir.
Okay.
Nothing new.
The one thing I was going to push out there, it's just running. It's a survey that I'm running. It's actually Liam and I are running the survey. It's a CollabTalk effort. It's for Microsoft 365 admins. It's just a pulse survey. There's 6 questions. We'd love to get your feedback on around security, compliance, and governance concerns. We're trying to get an idea of what the top concerns are in each of those categories. So it's not inclusive of like every specific feature or possible area of concern. So there's inputs if there's something that's missing from the list. There's a kind of a drag and drop of some of the items. So it only takes a couple minutes to complete. If you're interested, it's completely anonymous. We're not tracking it. CollabTalk, we never build lists. That's not what we do. And so it's gone. We don't share the information. But we do have 3 $50 Amazon gift cards, which we're going to be raffling off at the end of the month. So you can provide your name and email for those if you're interested. But you can take the survey. It's on bit.ly, so bit.ly / capital M365 and then all lowercase pulse. And I will paste the link.
Aren't you having a TweetJam coming up here?
Yeah, there's a...
The 30th.
There's so we have... Yeah, I'll talk about that briefly too. So there's the link there. And I'll post that over here as well. So the CollabTalk TweetJam, which generally runs in the last week of every month. This month, December, this is our 9th year of doing our end of year kind of summary. So takeaways from the year behind us. What were what was the biggest news in the Microsoft ecosystem, and people share their thoughts, as well as predictions for the next year. And I've had a lot of people that have asked, well, can we go back and review the predictions made last year or prior years? And I'll just say that we do this via Twitter, and it's open. Go do a search. you'll find them. No, I mean, those that participate in the tweet jams know that there's no collection of every tweet. Now that out in the tygraph tools, the stats that we share on the final tab in Power BI, they are capturing every tweet that used a CollabTalk hashtag within that hour. So you can go through and search through in order if you miss the tweet jam. But
all you got to do is fill out the form to the NSA and say, give me all of my tweets I've submitted for the last X amount of years.
And just remember to put the cover sheet on top of the TPS report when you're making that request. Otherwise, it will likely not be processed properly. So,
it'll be processed properly.
Oh yeah.
The internet never forgets.
That's right. Let's see. Yeah. Anything else going on this month? As it get quiet here the next couple of weeks, people starting to take off. I think this is really kind of the last week.
Productivity was
Christmas
down.
month, right?
Productivity was down. Now productivity is going like below the bar.
Do you know what's funny though? Is like, look, when I worked for large companies, December was generally a quieter month. When I got into smaller organizations, things got busier because of closing out end of year sales. So from the sales and marketing side, things got really heated up. The more people that I talk to, that small consulting shops and partners, it is crazy busy right now. So
I mean, with my customers, I've had a lot of folks shift to a different tax year or different quarters now. So their quarters don't end until February now.
Yeah.
And I mean, there used to be a time when the quarter would end December 31st, right? So all that money they said they had to get rid of by December 31st, they don't have to do that so much anymore.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's crunch time for me.
Crunch time. And you're not talking cereal? What's going on?
Well, CARES Act funding. I service a lot of government tenants, and they're trying their best to get that money spent before the year end.
Use it or lose it.
Yep. But I mean, a lot of talking with two SI partners this last week, they just said just like they've got customers coming now and saying, hey, can you get started? Can you just work on this for me? And they're like, we don't have the people. We can't do it. So they're just having to hold. So it's
Christmas is canceled. Everybody come back. We got work to do. Said no one ever.
It could be.
Except
Not
Scrooge.
my house. I'd be looking for an apartment if that happened.
Yeah, Eric, what's going on with your Christmas
You sleep
preparations?
on Christian's couch.
Sorry, my Christmas preparations?
Yes.
They are, as you know, we take Christmas very seriously here.
Oh yeah.
Tonight is the 5th day of Hanukkah, and we are enjoying and celebrating with lots of candles and lots of pastries and all the good things we're supposed to be eating. So
Don't burn the house down.
You have like 5 feet of snow yet up there, or how is it?
not a flake.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, not one. We've had two big storms. It's just not cold enough yet for it to really sit.
Yeah, it's we don't have the volume of snow, but it's been snowing since 5 a.m. here, and it's our second storm. So it's going to be off and on for Noah and I. It looks like a dusting, but it's just solid ice. So which just means it's black ice on all the rods all day long. So we're just
That's
at that
fantastic.
time. That's great.
Get the Zamboni out.
Yeah.
The pattern here is actually it's a lot of fun. So you watch all the people on the first snowstorm who flood the tire places, right? They all go together because no one realizes it's December and it's Canada and it's going to snow. I mean, this is obvious, right? So
I've heard that.
Yeah. So
Rumors.
they line up and everyone's jam packing, and then you always see a couple people who just totally forget, and then it melts and goes away, and then 2 weeks later you get another storm, more people flood. It's a continuous cycle. This will happen
Rinse,
until June.
repeat.
Yeah,
Till June.
And then in June, when everyone's satisfied, you'll just get up the people who leave their winter tires on all season, which is awesome. So safe.
Yeah.
So safe. In those chains.
And
Make
so
sure you keep the chains on.
It's so great for
chains.
the roads too. I know it helps aerate the concrete.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I want to be riding on a tire that goes plus minus 40 degrees.
Yeah. Well, Riz, speaking of Hanukkah, man, I used to have a girlfriend that was Jewish, and
she's also Jewish.
Yeah, absolutely.
She converted after Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do to her?
I used to have a girlfriend that. Anyways, the food is just phenomenal during Hanukkah, and I would love just going over every.
Come on over, buddy.
day.
We are so well stocked. It's
It's incredible.
The convenient conversion, the in and out.
I last ate on
Fair
Thursday
weather
night.
Jews,
That's how much is here.
Yep. That's great. All right. All right. With no objections, if there are any objections, just to get started.
I object.
Yep. I second.
I
Okay.
find Mike objectionable.
Override. Question number 1.
Overruled.
Yes.
That's an override. Overruled.
Sustained.
Whatever.
Christian missed that day in law school when they talked about the override thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Gajananan. I think that's pronounce it. Has a question that says, we have 2 domains set up in Office 365, A.com and B.com. We had a similar question. This is actually a different question than we had a few weeks back there. We need to split them so that A.com cannot view B.com's address list, but B.com can view both domains' address lists. Is this possible? So that
It is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is possible with trusted domains, and how they set up their trust between the domains and how the exchange balances that.
have that one-way trust.
Yep.
So none of this involves like two-way mirrors or anything else risque. It's just
no, it's smoke and mirrors actually, not two-way mirrors, but smoke.
Okay.
Guys, Mike will be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waiter and try to.
Yeah. Anything else on that? So yes, it's possible. Setting up trusted domains.
Yes, you need an exchange admin definitely involved for the exchange domain config, but you need an AD person to take care of your trust relationships, which might break half a dozen other things, So.
Setting up trust sucks.
Nothing's perfect.
Why is that, Sean?
The number of things that people forget, and we'll not even talk about group policies. You learn all sorts of things when you try to set up a trust.
Well, and this question number 2 kind of goes to Hal, the Teams issues you're experiencing. Tracy says, anyone having a camera issue with Teams? Some of our users can't use their camera with the desktop version of Teams, but the same people are okay if they use the web app. They're using HP laptops, and we've had this issue since Monday. We've done all the standard checks. The camera light is on, but you get a black fuzzy screen. It's almost like the privacy cover is on, but they don't have them.
Since Monday last year, Monday last month.
This was asked, this question last week. So after.
Sounds like a driver problem.
So if there was a driver that needs to be updated on those cameras. Hal, you're shaking your head?
Yeah, I got it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You can see him shake.
He couldn't take it. He's too emotional over he's unable to participate in the chat in Teams. So this goes back to when I was having the problems with the record button and some of the other problems that were intermittent. And intermittent issues are the worst because like trying to recreate something and lock down the problem.
Sean is the king of the record button problem. Trust me. You don't even compare.
Man.
So, but what we found out,
Sorry about that.
Conversations with Microsoft folks and Hal was just talking about like your missing chat capability, my inability to record, Sean's inabilities in general. That it was But there were, what we kind of chalked it up to is that there were updates that were happening on on the product, on the platform, and so just some tenants were being affected. So when I flagged the issue with the record button initially, I found nobody who was having the issue, and 3-4 days went by, and dozens of people on various communities, Facebook communities, were reporting the same issue, and then suddenly they all went away. So it's one of those things where I would log out of a meeting, log back into it, and the record button would be gone. Like it's my meeting, it's my tenant. Nothing has changed from permissions, but on the menu, the record, it was just gone. I then log out, log back in. It's there, but it's grayed out. Log back out, log back in, and there it is, and I can hit record. But really frustrating, especially when you're with a client and you're trying to schedule and capture the recording of a meeting.
Well, what I would suggest to Tracy, I'm still standing by the potential driver issue here. What I would do is go in to the webcam and device manager and switch the driver to like a standard Windows driver to see if you then get video with it. Because certain webcams, like Logitech webcams, the drivers, oftentimes you need to swap off of the Logitech driver onto a Windows kind of generic driver, and that'll fix the problem. The fact that the light goes on and you're getting something fuzzy but no actual video it suggests to me that the application is probably working correctly, but something's disrupting video or the ability to collect video. So I go back to the driver. But what you're saying is certainly true, Christian. But it doesn't look like it's happening within the application itself, more or less at the system level.
Did I miss? Was there any mention of doing it through the web, not desktop?
Yeah, it's working through the
It
web.
works through the web,
but not the desktop. But they're different applications. They work differently in some regards, and so that what Sean says, I think it's an easy check, and that's true for microphones that don't work, aren't recognized as well. But to switch between multiple devices, so turn it off, turn it back on.
Yeah.
Right.
Make sure.
That's right. I just realized I was saying. Have you tried turning it off and on again? But yeah. Switching over to
very
another
creative
device.
ways to say that. Yeah.
For what it's worth, my chat problem, I switched from home domain to the Microsoft guest domain. Now I'm still a guest here in either case, but the chat works here and it doesn't work there. So
Dizzying.
Teams is largely very, very mysterious.
Teams is a fickle biatch.
Yeah. What happened, Sean, in case you didn't hear it, was that last week on the normal login, like I've been doing this meeting for how many months now?
39 weeks. Whatever the math is, divide by 4.
Yeah, the chat disappeared. It says you can't chat because you're not a member of you're not a member. And
now it's getting judgmental. Oh, geez.
Yeah, and it's so if I'm in my home domain, like I've been for every one of these meetings, and join this meeting, it says I can't chat. And that just started last week. Now why, I don't know. Like I say, what I did today was simply to drop my domain, go into the Microsoft guest domain, tenant, and everything is working fine.
You're just Hal. You're not just part. You're not part of the super secret special
I guess I
members
must not be.
group.
Teams put Hal in the corner in the timeout.
The Team Illuminati.
Teaminati.
Yeah.
What does that make Christian?
Don't ask.
I should have worn that all-seeing eye T-shirt.
Yeah.
I almost wore that one today, but this is the other all-seeing eye.
Picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
That's right. All right. Question number 3. Mirko asked that I'd like to add an owner and an Office to an Office 365 group by PowerAutomate. The standard Azure AD connector is just able to add members. How is the best way to resolve this request?
So I looked into this one, and the connector certainly does not allow you to directly add someone as an owner. The owner is denoted. There's a PowerShell command, and you might be able to run some PowerShell to get this to work, unless they update add a new connector at some point. That's the add unified group links, which allows you to add a user in the owner role. And then I'll throw this in there from John Liu if you want to run PowerShell in Flow as a link. But that's what I came up with on short notice. I want to think that there's got to be an easier way, but I can tell you that the PowerAutomate connectors, a lot of them are very much work in progress. And I know for teams, between teams and groups and whatnot, they're not implemented consistently from a functionality perspective and being able to add that. So if anyone else has something better, I'm certainly all for it, because what I'm providing is kind of a workaround and it's not exactly convenient. Oh, wait a minute. This is the one I wanted to give you.
Okay, which...
There we go. That's from John Liu.
Oh, so the second one, so that was the...
people running PowerShell through Flow.
Yeah, and we just got a question from Eric over in the Facebook group. I don't know if we're going to be able to answer that one, though. Yeah, I'll just... yeah.
What was the question?
Yeah, so Eric asks, what are the top 3 problems Mac users face with Office 365?
Ridicule from other people, confidence issues, and what's the third one?
Well, if you're going to say confidence, you have to go with performance.
Incontinence. That's what I thought you said at first, but well, okay. Anyway, yeah.
This sounds like this sounds like a 2 a.m. infomercial. Eric, I am a Mac user, so I can tell you that the biggest issues that I have are, yes, ridicule from my peers, if you want to call them that. The biggest issue, and there's really only one, is that Power BI desktop you cannot use. So you have to run a virtual for that. Otherwise, it runs just the same in parallel. And of course, better.
Yeah, you say in parallel. You mean in parallels or?
Sorry?
You said in parallel. You mean parallels, the virtualization on Mac?
No, I mean as well, if not better than.
Oh, okay. So you're not citing a specific technology product.
No.
Yeah. I know that there's occasionally you'll see an issue with when new features come out and Mac people complaining that it's not yet there, or they're having some wonky behavior or something. But those are usually remedied fairly quickly. And Microsoft over the last couple of years is actually, I remember there was an announcement, I don't remember what it was now, but they announced that they were launching it for the mobile app for iOS first, and people in the room, it was at MVP Summit, they're like, what about, and it was back when Windows Phone was still around,
Yeah, exactly.
What about Microsoft platforms? And it was, caused some controversy for 30 seconds.
The Power BI desktop is a showstopper for a few minutes, particularly if you are using a corporate PC, or sorry, a corporate laptop, and you don't have rights to just go and install a virtual. That can be a real pain, but presumably that's something that you'd either know about ahead of time or have the ability to work around.
Okay. Question number 4. Bless you. Alex asks, I find creating an agenda in Teams really rudimentary and limiting. Am I the only one? Does anyone use something else? So creating and managing an agenda, I mean, how do you guys do that? I mean, one of the ways that I do it is through a shared OneNote.
Did away with agendas years ago.
We assume this is a meeting agenda?
Yes. That's what I'm assuming.
OneNote, push it down, use templates, make your life simple.
I have a former client, Pervasent, and for organizations that are that are much more formal and structured and are tracking like board of director advisory board type meetings and formal notes where there's that formal structure, it's documented, it's part of what needs to be regulatory and legal data, that information that's captured these formal meetings. And a product like Pervasent is excellent, and it's Pervasent, and I guess I could type that as well.
Yeah,
We got a new sponsor, you're saying?
No, it's just for that need. It's just a great product. It's been around for many years.
Groovy.
So I mean, otherwise, for as a former PM, there's two ways that I tend to do that. There are some projects, some customers where I would actually build out the if it's a project meeting and I build out that high level work breakdown structure of the project and use the discussion to build that out. And so use whatever tool, project management tool, project or what have you. But otherwise, OneNote, Excel to capture that.
Time-tested tools.
Yep. All right. Number 5, Michael says, I'm not able to schedule a Teams live event. I have an enterprise E3 license, and I've made sure the live event policy is set. Is there anything else I'm missing?
I've never tried to schedule one. I got
Mike,
bupkis.
muted.
Mike, you're muted.
Mike, you're muted. Mike?
Sorry. Yeah, I've never had a problem. I got an E3, so I don't know if he's got it enabled in the Teams admin. It should be
So-
a problem.
Mike's response is, works on my machine.
So the undertone is if you just go over to Mike's, and,
Yeah.
Pay Mike a visit and
that's
you
right.
can schedule your...
Or you can just email him every time you need a live event scheduled. He'll do it for you. Also possible.
Yeah, there's obviously with an E3, you've got the right license type. The missing piece here is on the admin side. If you're the admin, and Michael, and if you're saying you're still not able to schedule it, that's a bigger issue. If you're an E3, just a member of the organization, then there's some admin control that's switched off that either they're not allowing you to host or anyone to host.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing here, I mean, it could be an RBAC issue depending on what permissions he has, because I'm seeing that he says that the live event policy is set, but and only as far as I know, only a Teams admin or a global admin can see those policies. So unless he's working with someone and they tell him, oh yeah, the policy's all set, go ahead, you're good to go. I don't know.
Well, I just realized, hey, that we've got the change scene here for the live stream. I think we'll, what can we do here?
It's Christian.
What looks interesting here? We're sitting around the table. Let's try this.
We have the floor of hot lava.
Oh, that's not enough of us there. Let's see. How about this one? That's up to 50.
Push button, open floor.
There we go.
Whoa.
This is nice. Just back to nature here. So
guess.
changing the if people didn't notice, it's always nice to see the new features open up. And by the way, for those watching the live stream, so I'm doing the new change scene, and so features, and so is there? Yeah, so there's a couple different options. Let's do this just plain one. There we go.
I love it when Christian gets a new toy.
Yeah, the other nice things that showed up a while back, the polls showed up, but of course last week the breakout rooms finally globally available, generally available. So the breakout rooms capability, very cool to see this. Haven't had an opportunity to use this yet, but yeah, we'll have to play around with it sometime outside of this session, but yeah. So go in. I can create right now with the what is it? 7 of us, 6 of us, 7 of us. I don't know. Forgot how many there are here. Let's do 50 different rooms. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like I'm bowling.
Yep. I know. All you have to do is you just take out Sean right that front and center and knock everybody else down. Okay. I'll change it back to the earthy, outdoorsy one. There we go.
What about the underwater?
Was there an underwater one?
Yeah.
Can't wait to see how
there
this
we
is
go.
written up in the meeting notes.
There we go. That makes for some great live stream video. That's right. Okay.
Can I get some earplugs?
Hold your breath. Let's see. Be Still asks, we have implemented Windows Virtual Desktop. Pretty nice so far. Can someone tell me how to implement an auto log-off scheduler into Windows Virtual Desktop on idle session after, for example, 8 hours to release resources? We also have a problem to assign the German keyboard setting as default. Yeah. It's always English. It's not a problem over here. Yeah, so two questions there. Anybody had experience this with the Windows Virtual Desktop in implementing an auto log-off scheduler?
I dropped a link in the chat window to an article on automatically logging off idle window users. Typically through GPO. I don't know if that'll work on virtual desktops, but I have no reason to believe it wouldn't. So it might be a solution, might not. As for the German keyboard, 9.
Yeah.
Ich habe keine Ahnung.
You choking, Sean? Are you okay?
I have
you
no
need help?
idea. I have no idea. Ich habe keine Ahnung.
Can you hear me? Are you okay?
I know a little bit of German.
Oh,
I know nothing.
Ausgezeichnet.
Was it Steve Carrell where he was demonstrating how even friendly terms with a German accent sounds like it's angry?
Oh yeah.
It's
I don't think I've seen that.
it's hilarious. Where he's saying it very loud and you know what? No, there's a YouTube video. I'll have to find that here in a second. But where they're taking they do the different languages, and German's always last, and it's like the word flower, and it's all delicate, and then German, it's like this long, loud, brash word. It's pretty funny. I'll have to go find that.
I'd be interested in seeing that. Yeah.
I'll find the link here in a second. Let's see. Bonnie asked, number 7. When we use large gallery, we cannot see everyone. They stay as circles at the bottom left. Any advice?
That's usually when they have problems with video, or Teams has problems with the video feed. Because right now, I mean, sometimes Sean will black out on me, and he'll go to his circle.
But he wakes up.
It's actually still showing. Yeah, he'll black out.
I've wondered what those gaps in my memory are.
Yeah, but it'll show a circle, but he's still showing video, but my Teams is not showing it.
Yeah.
Because of
I had that
bandwidth or
happen.
whatever.
How about now? How about now?
Hey there.
It looks better with it up.
It's like an eye exam. Read the top row, guys, please.
By the way, I just shared the link. That's the YouTube video. It's it's hilarious. So definitely take a look at that.
Yes, I will come back to this.
I love this next question. Sean, you got to take this puppy.
Yeah. Well, I was just to finish up with the question for Bonnie.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, the other side of it is, if people that don't have their camera on will show as the bubble in the bottom left. And then the other thing to be aware of, like I just switched scenes and realized as you change scenes, is to make sure that you're selecting one that has enough seats. So if you've got 26 people in the room and you use this one, number 24, then you'll be limited. I do like how it zooms in, though, because there's fewer of us in this space. So I do like this spaceship theme. I think we'll stick with this one.
I've also heard that a lot of people are using the fact that most are at home to their advantage and saying, oh, my camera's on. I just don't know how to fix it, when in reality it's not, because no one's going to prove them otherwise. So they're just sort of constant bubbles until we're back in offices, and if that ever happens. So
look at the children in virtual school around them for techniques.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Those are some hilarious videos. Where kids are gaming the system and have the still
Kids
loading.
Kids.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's my favorite one is that kid. I know he's doing it intentionally, where he's a class full of kids and with his teacher, very soft-spoken math teacher, and he starts screaming at his mom about how he'll do his laundry later, and shut up, Mom, you're interrupting. And it's like an actual thing with his mom there, but he's not hitting mute, and he asks a question and then screams at his mom. It's really funny. Yeah, in a sad sort of way.
Fantastic.
All right, Katie asks, I am having issues with being constantly kicked out of Teams meetings. My internet is full bars, although when it does connect with me, it is very pixelated in tinny and sound. The work laptop uses Microsoft Edge. Can anyone help?
Yes. So, Katie, the difference here is you're looking at your connection to your access point, because I'm assuming you're on wireless. That is not the same as your bandwidth to the internet. The tinny sound and pixelation is Teams stepping your bit rate down to try and compensate for what little bandwidth you've got. So my suggestion is look at your internet connection. If you've got other things going on, like somebody doing downloads in your house or playing games or Netflix or something like that. Otherwise, invest in a more robust internet connection, but it's not the connection to your wireless access point.
So in college, we discovered that if we took clumps of aluminum foil and put them on the TV antenna and adjusted the spacing of the aluminum foil, we could actually pick up cable that we did not pay for. Is there a similar scenario that would help in this case?
That would be, again, a connection to the access point problem. Yeah. Yes, people have made cantennas and all sorts of things to send Wi-Fi and receive it long distances, but this is the pipe to the internet, and that is what's being constrained here. So get a bigger pipe.
Unfortunately for you, Christian, when you were in college, what you ran up against was somebody using 300 ohm twin lead, which is not shielded. That was an old trick that we used to pull when I was a kid. When they first put cable in down in my hometown, they used 300 ohm twin lead, and all you had to do was park an antenna outside, point it at any one of the power poles that carried this cable, and you had perfect signal.
Yeah, it was the magic of living.
They realized that they needed shielded cable, so they replaced their open wire twin lead with shielded coaxial cable. That went away.
That was the magic combo of apartment life as a student and in an old apartment that had old infrastructure. We were able to take advantage of that. So yeah.
Yes, you did.
It was great.
With a pretty easy Google or Bing search, she should be able to find a local bandwidth checker to figure out how quick the pipe is and what's going up, what's going down, and that should be able to guide her accordingly.
If the search completes.
Yeah, the other thing to be careful of too is that even if you have decent bandwidth that you're paying for, it doesn't mean that that's what you get. Like I for years was paying for business class DSL because they guaranteed a number. And so I had that committed that SLA. Now the reality is that it failed in some big ways during critical times because there's just a lot of things that can happen there. Where I actually got money back. I got free a couple months because of some issues, which is fine, except that it would have been better just not to lose connectivity in the middle of a webinar. I don't know, personal choice.
Do you need to walk the dog, Christian?
Oh, he's just, the window's open. I didn't close the drapes, so he's up there. Somebody's walking by.
One other part to that too is how new is your wireless access point. I had a Belkin Wi-Fi router here about 6 months ago that I've had for a number of years. Throughput on that was 60, 70 megabits per second. My line is rated at is up to 150. That router died. I put in a new one, an Asus, and I got up to 120 and that's by doing nothing else. So it's your router may have a good signal, but its throughput may not be so great. So maybe a new router too.
Yeah, in fact,
I'm on speedtest.net right now. I am. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I have in my quick links just to test my connectivity speeds, just to see if there's something that's going on. So that's something I'll generally click on that 2-3 times a day, depending, just to see what's happening. And so I also have in favorites like my broadband provider to see, just check for outages and other kind of news. I'm in a high construction area, and so there's been issues due to trucks hitting poles and things in the past. So it's just good to be aware.
So just for entertainment value, why don't we all do speedtest.net real quick and report our findings and see what the variance is.
All right.
Now please join Mike Nelson for the musical interlude. I'll go first since I did it first. But I think Noah's got an answer, but he has to unmute first. I was 192 down and 112 up.
Mine's finishing up. So I am 905 down and 237 up.
So I want to ask you guys, what speed test are you using, though?
Speedtest.net from here. And I'm 127 down and 8.46 up, which is typical for a Cox internet connection.
I am a little bit slow this morning, but it's 390 down, 64 up.
Christian,
what is you being slow this morning? Yeah.
What?
Sean and I are like, get him,
exactly.
get him.
You hold them. I'll go for the gut.
Get him.
So I think I got you guys here. Mine's just finishing up, but hang on. Wait one.
It's a bit slow.
Yeah, I got wow. Holy crap. 482 down and 21 up.
Sweet.
Well, I'm making a call because I know that my connection is supposed to be much quicker.
Yeah.
I've got 126 down. I had to fight Comcast 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they wanted to bump my plan, and I said no. And 2 up. It's miserable.
2 up. Wow.
That sucks with video. It really does when you have that. The upload speed is what kills you with video. Yep. Just so, I mean, if we get questions about Teams and how someone has video and they're connected to Teams and they get people who tell them, oh, I can't see your video, or your video is really pixelated or whatever, it very well could be your upload speed because you're uploading your video.
Mm-hmm.
And, so.
Yep.
Or sitting there waiting for OneDrive to put all your videos. Your
that's a nightmare.
Now I'm testing my speed directly from my provider on my phone. So let's see what the difference is between the two. Anyway, Christian Buckley, next question, please.
Yeah. Number 9, Carissa asks, we've had a few instances of users, so patients and clients joining a meeting 12 to 15 minutes before their scheduled meeting. They get the prompt when the meeting starts, we'll let people know you're waiting in the lobby. When the provider joins, they are not always prompted that the patient or client is in the virtual lobby to admit. We then are needed to call the patient or client and have them leave the meeting and rejoin. Once they do this, it alerts the provider they are in the lobby. There seems to be a timeout, but what is the length? We ask patients and clients to join 15 minutes early to work out any issues they might run into, but for those that don't have difficulty, it doesn't show that they're in the lobby. If anyone else has run into this, please share what you have done. And joining meetings has been challenging for most of our patients and clients. So I didn't realize that there was a timeout.
I don't know. I'm not aware of timeout because you have a separate pane for the lobby. If you're the organizer, you have a separate area that allows you to allow people into the lobby, right?
Well, right. Well, as a provider, so the meeting owner, when I log in, if Noah and Mike are already there waiting, I wouldn't get the new prompting. Only those that join once I am logged in, I believe. But to your point, if I, at any point, I can go in and look at the people pane and see that there might be a dozen people waiting.
And well, there's a very simple answer for this. Nobody's ever tested for it because nobody in our industry ever shows up 12 to 15 minutes early.
Touche.
See, that's what I'm wondering is if they're missing when you go into the people, like you said, the people pane, and you have that top part that says lobby, and then you have the other part. I think it's participants or attendees or whatever it is, but the top part is where you are allowed to admit, or decline access to the meeting. And I don't know if they're looking there.
And you can always go in. I mean, I know you want to have that control too, so that you can decline people that aren't authorized to participate in there. But you can also turn off the lobby feature.
Yeah, exactly. And for what reason? I mean, I guess there is all kinds of reasons why you would want a one-on-one type meeting to have people wait in the lobby. I don't know, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm, that would be something we'd have to go and set up a test and have people join to see what the behavior is for that. I wasn't aware that there was a, timeout function, but again, I believe the way that it works is that if there are people that are already in the system and then me as the organizer joins, then I may not receive that prompting. Maybe there's a time limit. If there's, like I joined this morning, and was in there for 5 seconds, and then Hal was the first to join in, and got the prompt. So I don't believe that he was already in there waiting. I think he joined 5 seconds after I clicked into it. So, we'd have to test that out. But you can always see that by going into the lobby and then allowing all those people in. So that's a training issue on running those sessions, is to make sure that they go into the lobby and make sure they've not missed anybody.
This is a question that I just was looking at, Christian, and it appears that they're in two different rooms. People have someone will let you in shortly, but they're never listed on the organizer side. So I linked to an answers.microsoft.com thread where people are saying.
Did you share that somewhere?
It's on that. It's the tech community. I assume that's where you got the question from.
Yeah. Do you want to grab the link and share it here?
Yeah. But students are saying that they're constantly late to class because of this issue, right?
So they're constantly late to class because of this issue?
Mm-hmm. Never admitted on time. They're just not listed in the people who should be admitted.
Yeah, Mike, prove to me that I wasn't late, all right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, will this be on the final? Because I wasn't late.
Here you go. And the resolution was just turn off the lobby, but I don't know if that works for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I think of those scenarios, like in this case, you're talking when you're dealing with medical personnel, dealing with patients and multiple patients, you'd have to have that control, make sure it's people that are verified, but yeah. All right. Question number 10. How are we doing on time? All right, we're doing well. John asks, it appears that there is no way to programmatically change the hidden in navigation value in hub site settings. Is this true? And he's got an image here, and I'll copy that over and paste it, if it'll paste.
No, that's a SharePoint question. I'm out.
Mute.
And it's not sharing it. Yeah, SharePoint related. Yeah, is this something, Sean, do you have any idea?
I do not. I've not played with that, but the fact that it's there and grayed out makes me think permissions or rights to actually make the change. I can't see Microsoft dropping a UI element on that simply cannot be altered. So.
Really? Really?
Look, I like to think the best of people.
Yeah.
That's not true. You never.
I believe in humanity.
Yeah, this.
The UI teams have humanity. Oh, here's a Microsoft person.
Neil wants in. That one works.
We'll get a Microsoft person. We'll ask this question. But it's a...
Okay, join in and throw me under a bus.
Hi, Neil.
Neil's
Picked
fault.
a fine time to join us, Neil.
Well, I was just going to say that, look, for something like this, there's not a programmatic method for every single control that's in the UI. If it's something that you feel is missing, it's there, it's critical. If you do a search and see if it's something that's in user voice, you can always go, if it doesn't exist there, you can create a user voice request and get people to vote for it. And Neil, this is...
Neil, dude, what's up with your forehead? What's the line across your forehead?
This line here,
Yeah.
I've had that since I was a kid.
It looks like they just stitched your skull cap back on.
Well, when I used to play, I was a soccer player right back in the UK for a long time, and my friends always used to say to me that I was a central defender. I used to always be the guy jumping up and heading the ball back. My friends always used to say to me, that's where they cut my head open, poured the concrete in, and then stitched it back together.
I'd buy that.
No, it's a bit. It's a little bit irritating right now. We did the Christmas tree decorations yesterday, and I got irritated with some stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit more pronounced than it usually is.
Yeah, I've never seen it that pronounced. So my apologies.
No problem.
Just so you know, Neil's really sensitive about that, and never ask about it. Certainly not in public or if it's being recorded.
Yeah, well, you usually don't see it when he's in full stage makeup, so I think normally you wouldn't see that at all. So, no, Neil, we were just talking about. So somebody asked a question about it doesn't appear to be a way to programmatically change the hidden in navigation value in hub site settings, and so is this true? And
I'm not aware of it. I've only played with hub sites a little bit. I wouldn't claim to be any kind of expert in that space.
I don't know if you've got access.
Willing to talk to engineering though.
I dropped an image. Christian put an image in the notes, and I'm like, I have a hard time believing that the UI element would be there if it weren't possible to change it, which makes me think permissions.
Hidden in navigation. What are we talking about hiding? The actual hub site itself, or some element of the site? Like some of the. Obviously, a hub site is kind of a. It's a conglomeration is the wrong word. It's a coming together of multiple sites, if that makes sense. So, what are we trying to hide? The actual hub site itself.
Yeah, the name and the navigation to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that node in the navigation is what it seems.
Yeah, I mean the fact you have the slider hidden in navigation, is that what we're trying to programmatically change here?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, if I'm being honest. It would seem crazy that they have the setting in the UI, but there's no option to do it in any kind of API or. Yeah, I can take the question. I'll go ask people.
Okay, I'll put it
In-
down.
With
Neil.
it, less than 5 minutes, and Neil is accepting homework.
I have homework. And you know I'm just going to ping Veza and Luca and say.
Of course. Of
Make it
course.
someone else's problem.
I know.
I'll make it somebody else's problem.
That's delegation.
That's right. That's the power move. Yeah. All right. Question number 11. Barath asks, I have added a new theme to SharePoint Online using PowerShell. I used same color codes in teal theme. See, there's the problem right there. Teal. But for some reason, site settings page is very dark and unable to see anything. Do we know how to fix it?
I'm assuming it's probably a classic site because the admin pages use a different master page than the standard pages that users put in the site. So I think you might not be targeting the right elements. Because that's different styling and different master page. But go into your F12 tools and select any sort of element and see if your style sheet's even in the call sequence, if something else is trumping it or something else, or if it's even called at all. So F12, select an element, see what's in the CSS call chain. That's what I would do. But yeah, there are plenty of elements here we need to know, like, is it a classic or a modern? Is it truly a theme that's being applied? Which site settings page? That sort of thing.
Another one of those questions that would benefit from asking short follow-up questions to get more information. Yeah.
Well, we're providing a way to go figure it out.
Yep.
Those browser development tools are very useful in these instances.
All right. Right, number 12, really looking for everyone's input on this one. We're looking at using Teams for our phone system.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So this is the running joke, folks that are aware that I always like to insert at least one telephony question that none of us know the answers to. I know, Sean.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
No, I thought maybe somebody might have heard about this or be aware of this one, the question with it. So if we're on a Teams meeting using the handset and someone wanted to share a screen with us, can we see that on the PC the user is signed into? Can we effectively use both handset and PC client simultaneously, having audio go through the phone and camera other content going through the PC?
Yeah. Just go into the meeting in two places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make sure you mute one of them.
Yeah. And if you join the meeting from another device, it'll give you two options, right? Well, it gives you an option, choices. It gives you like, do you want to, transfer to this device, or do you want to join with this device? So it should be. I mean, I don't know whether the phone is a smartphone, or is it like a Teams phone? Because if it's a Teams dedicated, like hardline phone, they're screwed. Like an IP phone. No, you can't do it. Won't work. You might get audio through the phone and screen share on your PC, but you certainly won't get it the other way around. And I know that because I had a customer with that exact same problem last week. But if it's a fancy little Apple phone or an Android, you should be good.
All right. Let's see. Let me move the page down.
Hey, we knew the answer to the question.
Yeah. I know, that's why I left it in there. So it was, the running joke was just the fact that the first line, but the actual question I thought we might know.
We just wanted to hear us groan.
Of course. Number 13, Ivo says, we need to control access and use of one application because it only allows one user at a time. The access is made by RDP. So when a user calls the RDP session, if other users was already in, he lost the connection. We've created a specific channel on our team and established to ask others if anyone are using the app, but this is not a streamlined flow. Anyone know if there is any app or something that allows to create a kind of on-off or green-red toggle in a team or channel tab that all team members can check or uncheck to inform the others about the usage status of the app?
Oh, this is like, don't enter the office because Daddy's on the phone type flag, right?
Tie a sock on the door? Is that what it is?
No, that means something else entirely different.
Tennis racket in the window?
So some sort of presence indicator for the application.
Yeah.
Well, what about when somebody tries to go in via RDP? It'll tell you if you're ready, if you're
Gonna boot somebody, right?
terminate some session. Yeah.
So this is saying that if somebody else dials in, that it doesn't ask, it just boots them. I've experienced that. I was trying to remember which app. It wasn't a Microsoft-related app.
Unless they're all using a shared set of login, a shared login, then that's a bigger problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things to think about. Is like, are they RDPing into a client server session, whatever, as an RDP user? Are they logging as an admin? Are we talking here that this is Windows Virtual Desktop, and then the app can only run under one set of credentials? And there's a whole, again, a question that leads to more questions, right? What are the circumstances and how are they connecting? If they're logging into a machine as admin to run this app, then first of all, why are they doing that? And what's the requirement for that? Maybe they should think about Windows Virtual Desktop or Citrix Virtual Desktop running on a platform that gives them the ability to do multi-user login. We don't want to go down the whole, hey, redevelop your app situation. If it's just a case of, how do I know if someone's in the app? Do they need something that automatically flags when a user logs in? If so, that shouldn't be too difficult. Question is, what if that user times out? What if that user doesn't then, I'm logging out the app now, I don't need it anymore, I need to go here and set this thing. Or, there's a whole host of things that it should be more automated. So I would say the answer to the question is yes, there should be a way to do that. There probably is a way to do that, but it might need some work on their behalf. And also, more information about what they're actually doing with respect to multi-user sessions and that kind of thing would be more beneficial for this audience to kind of understand what it is there. Let's define the problem a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's almost like you wanted to have like a check-in, check-out capability for the app usage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, restricts others from doing anything. But...
I've got to jump, guys. Have a good half hour without me. Enjoy yourselves. I'm sure you got through many questions. I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks a lot, Eric. See you later.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Signing out too.
Right, Noah?
Thanks for
See you later.
Noah.
Take care, Noah.
Bye, Noah.
So they just didn't want to participate in number 14 with a question coming from Salty Waffle. I'm not sure what nationality Mr. or Miss Salty or Miss Waffle, whatever. I don't know. But Salty says, hello, I have a problem installing the Microsoft Team desktop version. I installed the desktop version from the web browser version. After installing the application, it will be displayed as shown in the following figure. I used the desktop version before, but after a period of inactivity, it turned into the picture below. I have a reinstalled application, but it still shows my same display screen. I don't know, Sean, are you able to paste that image in? I don't know what that image is. And I thought it was, just something where sometimes they try to add an image and it converts it into something funky. Yet the top bar with the person's icon, it's like, that's all correct. So I don't know what happened with the images. It doesn't seem to translate across. I'll click on it here.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
I've used the desktop version before, and after a period of inactivity, it turned into the picture below. I have a reinstalled application, but it still shows my same display screen. I had to reinstall the application several times, but it was the same.
What is that?
I have no idea what that is.
No clue.
It's... I don't know.
Creative.
What's...
And that's the client, right? The desktop client, not the browser.
Yeah, it would appear to be,
Yeah.
given the minimize, maximize, and close buttons.
I don't know what that is. It's some kind of pinball game with two right-handed flippers. I have no idea.
That is
A very improperly
honestly,
rendered page.
I think we're being punked.
yes,
You know
I
what?
think we're being punked too. I was going to go down that path, Sean. that. I've never seen that. Never seen anything reported like that. Yes, I have had issues with Teams before with functional problems and occasionally the odd rendering thing on a screen share. But no, I think no, I got nothing for that.
Yeah, I think it's a failed render. There's something, I'm not sure what the picture is, and Salty, wherever you are in the world, maybe provide some additional screenshots. If
We don't believe you.
Yeah.
We'll just flat out say it.
We don't know what to do with that. Yeah, so, yeah.
I think it's Microsoft Paint. It's not Teams.
I know. That's right. Every time I hit this error, I go in and create some kind of graphic in MS Paint using simple shapes. Please explain. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I don't want this to be disparaging, but it's like I asked my 2-year-old to draw what I see.
That looks like it's something.
Sorry.
That looks like an ellipsis to do something with that's been completely blown up and out of shape. That's a rendering issue of some kind. I'm pretty sure that's just a screen element that's been zoomed way the heck up.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're right. You know what? That looks like it's been zoomed right in.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was actually because I know this has happened to me before where I've copied like a screenshot and pasted it into a web browser or something. So this may not be a deliberate prank, but it looks like a deliberate prank.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that, to go in and create wonky fake screenshots and report fake issues and post them out there.
Oh, no.
You know what's going to happen. You're on Facebook. You know that.
I know.
Spence.
All right. Let's jump over to question number 15. Greg asks, when I want to add my room to an existing meeting, I click on Add Meeting Room, and the system is talking about Teams. The system only offers me one room that is not the right one. The room is a resource account with a 365 meeting room license. I compared the Exchange properties between the two. It's identical. And of course, when I schedule a meeting from Outlook or Teams, it works. Oh, so this is an Outlook Exchange issue. So we want to add a room, so a physical room to an existing meeting. And so they're...
So is it possible that it's only showing the rooms that are available? So usually it'll just show rooms that don't have anything else scheduled within the time frame that you have the meeting scheduled for. Because I only say this because at one company that I worked with, their meetings were all scheduled at 15-minute intervals. They weren't, they were always scheduled not to start until 5 minutes after the hour. and they had to end at 5 minutes to the hour. Okay, and that was just a company policy, is that they always, that's how they did their meetings. And that would show up in the calendar really weird. And in terms of when people would try and schedule meetings, they had to make sure that that time was exact, because otherwise it wouldn't show that room is available.
Yeah. The other thing is that you might be looking at the wrong calendar, so the wrong resource pool.
Yeah, I mean, usually all resources are grouped together unless they're in different physical locations, or you have some other, maybe first floor, second floor, or 10th floor, or whatever. But usually it's grouped together somehow.
Well, the way that it's supposed to work, I mean, it won't hide the rooms just because they're booked. It'll allow you to add those, and you'll be able to see the availability of those spaces. That's how it works in normal company. A list of resources of rooms, and then you find the one. I used to do this all the time, and you find the room that's available.
Even if you have an existing meeting scheduled, though.
Yeah, it just shows the time is blocked out. It shows the rooms as unavailable.
Yeah,
does it work that way in Teams? I don't know. Maybe try and schedule a meeting for like a weird time in the morning just to test it. If Mike's theory is correct, and I don't know, it seems plausible.
Probably not.
but I mean, if you try and schedule a meeting for like 1 a.m., do you then get to see all the rooms again because their rooms are not busy? Then what if the rooms are blocked out for long periods of time, like 3-4 days, where we think about how if you have like a team offsite or something. Obviously these days we don't do that kind of thing, but generally if a meeting room is booked out for 3 or 4 days solid for a long meeting, offsite, whatever it might be. But I think testing Mike's theory is a very, very useful thing to do.
On a resource, can you set availability times manually for a resource? I don't know if you can. I mean, you know how you can set yourself as your time of day of work is like from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Can you do that for resources?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, you can. So in exchange, going and setting up for the profile for those rooms, come across rooms that were blocked out for the team that was physically close to those rooms. Every day after 4, where they had like 4 to 6 p.m. Standing meetings, and they were automatically blocked out for that organization. And the rest of the time, it was a free and open resource to anybody within the company to go and book that out. So that was built into the profile that way.
Well, my question is, were those meetings created to block that time, or was it part of the resource that says, it's only available from 7 to 4 every day?
Yeah, a bit like personal working hours, right? We can block our working hours for our calendars. I mean, it would seem sensible to me that you could do that. Maybe the building's only open for certain hours, right? So you.
Yeah, I didn't know if you do that in resources or not. I guess I don't know. I don't know.
Well, the issue though that he's asking about is not even seeing the other options. Again, the first thing I do if I go in and whether I'm looking for somebody's email address or a resource and I'm finding a limited list of those people, the first thing that I do is I check to see if I'm looking in the right resource pool or the right GAL, the global address list to find those resources. So if he's only seeing that one room, and maybe for some reason that meeting it's tied to another list, or that profile is tied to another list, and is looking in the wrong place to find the other rooms that are available. I mean, that's the first thing I would do to go and check to make sure.
Yeah.
So.
And is it consistently that he or she, I forget who asked the question, but
Greg
only sees Greg only sees the same room all the time, like regardless of the time of the meeting. So if they can only see one room and it's the same room every time they try and add it, to whatever meeting time is, then something's a little screwy.
Yeah.
Right.
Go back
If
and
if it's one room, but different rooms at different times of day, then again it's still a little screwy. But you know, how many rooms do they have?
right. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things where you just got to go. You talk to the admin, do some digging around to figure out what might be going on with the person's profile. The permissions might be on the Exchange side, just what they have access to.
Mm-hmm.
It might be that they're looking the wrong calendar. So it could be a number of things. Number 16. This one's exciting. Magic. Again, I'm thinking not real name. It's me. You never know. So there's a question about SharePoint Web Services. We are consuming SharePoint Web Services using basic and SAML authentication and is working fine, but now we have to provide additional OAuth security for SharePoint Web Service. We successfully registered the application on the SharePoint site and we have received access refresh token. Now how to add this access token to SharePoint Web Service. And so they've provided their sample code, and that's exciting to share for a video live stream. I will not cut and paste that over.
So the issue here, if they're going in basic and SAML, I assume they're doing this on premises because they're not going to be able to manipulate the authentication mechanism in the online scenario. If they're going in through OAuth, something's not adding up here. I think in an on-prem scenario, they're going to have to use a high trust configuration. And here, let me just paste a link for you. They're using, so they've got SharePoint Web Services, SOAP, Java.
When you say SharePoint Web Services, what are they actually trying to use? What are they trying to work with?
It looks like they're going against, see, this is the problem. The SOAP-based web services, those are, the only thing that SharePoint supports there is the old ASP.NET 1.0 web services that are SOAP. They're not going to go in for anything newer. Is going to be REST or using one of the libraries or at a minimum WCF. It's not going to be SOAP. That's why I'm having trouble with this. And the Java part is the web service. Is it Java code that they're going into the web service, or is it the code? Because the code that they've got there looks to me, it's hard to really tell, but they've got generics. Request headers, add the cookie to the list, binding provider, get request context. So I can't tell if this is their pseudocode or what, because, you know, methods are not going to start with a lowercase g in .NET anyway. So I'm not really sure here. But not knowing or understanding the actual context here, the link I provided talks about authorization systems for SharePoint add-ins. Now, if he's trying to access SharePoint for the purposes of getting data out of SharePoint, and that's the code he's trying to modify, this will provide some help. If he's building web services and trying to run stuff in SharePoint context that will then accepts connections from other code, it becomes a whole different ball of wax. What do you think, Neil?
I am no developer, Sean, as you know. But it sounds, yeah, I agree with you in what you said in terms of what my high level knowledge of it. Authentication I get, but what is it is actually trying to achieve?
We are consuming SharePoint web services using basic and SAML authentication, working fine. But we have to provide additional OAuth security for SharePoint web service.
So the phraseology there says that we're consuming SharePoint web services. As you said, SharePoint on-prem has a series of services which you can consume and authenticate depending on how you've configured it. Well, I guess just, basic and what did I say? SAML? Basic and SAML, right?
Yeah.
So SAML on-prem is going to always be 1.0. And then they want to move to OAuth, okay. But like you said, are they we're just talking about out-of-the-box services? What services are they trying to do? They're trying to do like, calls to the search endpoints, calls to the managed metadata endpoints, calls to even the lists service. So they're trying to get access to content and data and stuff in lists, in site collections. What is it they're trying to do?
They've gone through the process of registering their application on the SharePoint site. So I'm assuming that means it's added to the app catalog. That's an assumption, though.
So this. But even if they're just making web service calls are they making calls from like another app somewhere else, or are they actually registering something as like a hosted app or a provider hosted app? What
like a shim, or well, that would be a full trust app. But
right,
I'm assuming they're registering an application is a statement to they're registering some sort of provider hosted application, because that would have to be in the app catalog and then deployed, and that's where you do your permission grants.
Want to move to OAuth, okay. But
so,
like you said, are they
I hate to say, but
services. What services are they trying to?
I think there's help here, but I want to know more information.
Are they
I hate.
So this is where like an auth flow kind of diagram would be useful.
Yeah.
An actual, like you said, what is the app trying to achieve?
Right. There are different auth flows for SharePoint Online, but SharePoint On-Prem, you're still looking at high trust environment. Probably a high trust environment.
Yeah, they said they registered the app. So again, I know we've said this a couple of times already, even since I joined the call like 20 minutes ago. But sometimes we need more information. Right? Sometimes less is more. In this case, more is
more. More is more in this case. The sample code is nice to look at, but it doesn't really answer the critical questions.
Well, we've got 6 more minutes and 2 more questions.
Okay. Knock them out.
So number 17, this is, again, not sure if it's the real name, 360484119.
8675309.
I've added a highlighted content web part to a page and filtered down issues with status active. The information is limited to created by and title. Sadly, and to the left of that is pretty much empty, but it looks like it's space for an image. Where should I put an image in the issue item so that this can be displayed in the web part?
I've never used I will admit, never used a highlighted content web part.
Well, the content would have to have an image for it to go into that space. Otherwise, it's going to default. So I was asking, where do I put the image with the item. So if there's not one that's associated with it, I mean, again, you can have a number of different types of content that are there. I believe the way that it works. Again, haven't used it either, but whether if it'll pull if it already has something that is linked within. If it's linked within the content. What is that link you just shared, by the way?
It's using the highlighted content web part.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if they've got any field mappings.
Yeah, so I don't.
Looks like it pulls something out of the page.
Yeah, that was my point. There might not be. There's no way. I don't believe that there's anything that you can add or change within the highlighted content web part itself. It has to be within what is being pulled from, so that other content.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so, depending on the content type, not every content type has the image associated with it. But if it's
or is it using an image link? That's the thing. What field type? Are you making an assumption that it's pulling an image as an attachment or a reference to an image in a field?
I think it's the reference is interesting. It almost feels very similar to the content by search web part,
mm-hmm.
which just displays almost like an overview of whatever's in there. I don't know whether it discovers a specific.
Well, wouldn't it discover?
Image.
It would discover either. If you have an attachment, and it would see that and pull it. If you have one that's referenced and within it. It should also draw from that
hang on a
image.
second.
It is.
Here.
The highlighted content is the newer, simplified version of the content search web part.
In the content search web part, what you're talking about, Christian, is if there's an icon attached to the file format associated with the link, that icon or the image of that icon will be shown.
That's not what I'm saying, but
no. Where?
Well, with content search web part though, you could very much modify it so that it would display, for example, if let's say there was I don't know, let's think about a retail website, right? You could display an image associated to the page.
And oftentimes that'll be a link to an image.
Sean, I think what you're saying is
yes. Yeah, so that's what
modify a display template.
Right. So what I'm saying is use an example of I write an article and
mm-hmm.
I might upload an image to be the primary image for that article, but it may also have within the body of that, an HTML link out to images within the body of the text and references
mm-hmm.
other images. If I share that link to a blog post, and if there's no header image, primary image that I've uploaded to it, it will default to and select from the other shared images or embedded images within that. So I believe it works the same way. If you don't have an attached or a referenced image within the body of content, it'll default to just something generic.
The highlighted hit web part?
I don't know specifically about the highlighted web part, but I'm just assuming if it doesn't have an image to pull, it's not going to leave it empty. It will then fill it with that generic whatever that thing is. Hopefully it will be that fake image of Todd Clint and Callahan and I.
Jesus.
I'm just trying to tie it all back in, You guys know.
So, okay.
I'll grab the image. Hang on.
So you can select the layout for the results, and that's where it's going to pick the display template. And it's going to depend entirely on the display template that's used by the highlighted hit web part. Because most of those things, if we're talking like, you know, we're not talking about old school publishing here where, you know, you typically have a content type that defines an image reference for the article and the body of the article and the title of the article and all of that stuff. They said modern page, I believe.
It's a modern web part for yeah.
Right. So it's not going to be an attachment, but reference to something probably in site collection images or in a picture library or something. An image in the issue item. And that's why I'm coming back, you know, to this. So the way the content search web part worked prior to modern is you would you could modify field mappings to the actual placeholders within the display template. And typically you would wire up, you would say, you could wire up non-visual fields into a visual field type and you would get all sorts of gobbledygook. But you can mix and match different pieces that are referenced in each list item, individual fields, to places on that display template. So
yeah, that's just managed properties, right? That's basically
right.
what it was.
And so I think the question here is, what is the name of the field, or how would they specify that to be mapped into one of these templates? The first question is, which template are you trying to map it into? It then becomes an issue of knowing how that template gets wired to a background field for that particular, you know, image of interest, and then having that field in your list. Did I just lose everybody?
No, we got you. I think, and I know where you're coming from. What I don't see, I know we see the layout, right? You've got the cards, list, carousel, film strip, that kind of thing. But that's like the layout of the web part itself. It's not the layout of how each individual item
right.
It's the generated. So
it's the list template instead of the item template. The list
right.
becomes the container for it, which defines repeating and paging and all sorts of things like that. The item template is used per item, per list item.
And it looks to me, it's almost like, and I could be wrong here, but it looks to me very much like if you choose, for example, the, well, I guess it doesn't matter which one you choose, but if you, let's say we went for the cards, right? If you choose cards as your layout, which is what the document gives an example of, it looks to me like it's almost provides kind of like a,
it's a card.
Office
it's,
web,
card.
It's a card. It's like an office web app. It looks to me like it's built around choosing an image from within the document, and that's what it's going to show you. But I mean, I'd have to play with it to check it. No, I'm not volunteering for homework. I can't do it. I don't have time. But
I'll take this.
That's kind of what it looks like to me. Very much like the content by search web part.
Yeah. I know the content search web part inside and out. I don't know the modern equivalent with this web part, so this is something I need to learn.
Well, gentlemen, hey, we're over on time, so we'll hold over the final question till next week. It's a longer one. So appreciate everybody's input today, and thanks for those that watched on the live streams, or if you're watching the recording, you'll be able to find a complete a summary of today's 90-minute office hours out on buckleyplanet.com. So I'll do a write-up later today and have every question that we attempted to cover over the course of the day. I think we were successful on the majority of those, maybe two 3 that were maybes that were need to do more
We
homework on?
provided answers. We were successful at that.
Yes,
now, whether
correct.
or not they were correct,
Well,
remains to be
to say
seen.
successfully answered would also probably be bold. But we attempted answers. That's right. But thanks to everybody for joining. And again, you can follow us out on CollabTalk, out on YouTube. And I'll also provide the link list so that you don't have to wade through all 90 minutes. You can actually jump to the question you care about. And of course, unless you want to just sit and watch our pretty faces for 90 minutes, then that's your prerogative. But some of us have better things to do than watch that. But yeah, anyway. Well, thanks a lot, gentlemen. And we'll see everybody back at 8 a.m. Pacific next week.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Sounds good. I'll try and make it on time next week.
And now I'm going to
Cool.
fade it back into the music, and which I think we'll get the tunes rolling here. Yeah. Right. So you guys said, oh, you know what?
Right.
Well, I should say right at the end here, the disclaimer.
Yeah, that
I got a
disclaimer.
disclaimer there.
This might be the one show we really needed.
All right. See you guys later.
Take care.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Thanks.